Hello. I thought I would share a few more poems that were written sometime, I think in the 90s, um, maybe very, very early 2000s, but I doubt it. I think it was still in the 90s when I wrote these. So this first one is just a silly little a poem that I wrote for my niece to cheer her up because she broke her arm. And it's just it almost has like a Dr. Seuss kind of feel to it, but it's like, I don't know, it's just nonsense. It's just meant to cheer her up because she broke her arm. Okay, so it doesn't have a title. We're sorry to hear that you broke your arm, but it could have been worse. You could have lost your charm. Then what would you do? Where would you be? How could you live to be 103? You have to be charming to get through this life, to be a good daughter, friend, student, and wife. How would you weasel your way out of a bind? Without your charm, you would go out of your mind. Your mother would spank you for sure when you're bad. She'd do it herself and not wait for Dad. Your teacher would frown and not hesitate to give you detention when your homework is late. Your friends would be scared and so unprepared. They would think it could spread like the flu. And not wanting to get it or miss any school, they'd keep their distance from you. You would quickly grow into a lonely young lady, and deep in your heart you would say, I wish that my one and only Prince Charming would come and take me away. You can do all the hoping and wishing you want, but it never will happen to you, for in order to get Prince Charming to notice, you have to be charming too. So never mind that your arm is broken. Unleash that charm of yours. Smile a lot in spite of it all, and you may even get out of your chores. Okay. So, like I said, it was very silly and meant to just cheer her up because, you know, breaking your arm is no fun. Anyway, okay. This next one is called I Wonder If the Angels Sleep. I wonder if the angels sleep when the day is through and the night comes on, when the clouds float slowly in the sky and the moon whispers good night to the sun. I wonder where the angels sleep. Do they rest their heads upon the cotton clouds, use them as pillows and the stars as nightlights? Tell me, do the angels sleep? I really like clouds. So I don't know, maybe I was inspired, I'm not sure, inspired one day possibly from looking at clouds, or I don't know. But anyway, I really like clouds. This is not really a poem. This is actually more recent, like in 2018. This is an otter song because I really like sea otters, but it's kind of wishful thinking. It's not very, it doesn't really describe what a sea otter's real life is like. It's like, if a sea otter had a wish, maybe this would be it too. But life for them is a lot more difficult than what we see. We see them as these cute little furry animals that do all these cute, you know, things like while they're floating on their backs, and when in reality they have a rough life, and we can see them as having a cushy life, but in reality that isn't true for them. They spend, especially the mommy otters, they spend so much of their time just trying to survive and care for their babies, and getting food. They're either getting food, grooming their pups, or resting. That's it. That's their life. So this is I call it Otter Song. I don't have I'm not going to sing it. I'm just going to read you the lyrics, okay? I'd like to spend my days on my backside in the bay like an otter, eating clams and crab and fish with my belly as a dish like an otter, swimming, diving, having fun in the glistening of the sun, till the day is nearly done, holding hands and taking naps with my friends and family raft, anchored by the bay of kelp so we won't float away. An otter's life is bliss. Want an ocean life like this, like an otter. So that's what we all see, I think. We see them in that way, and we wish that we could be like that too. And we may see other people in that way too, where we think that their life is just like, the grass is greener on the other side kind of thing, and we think that everything is just so perfect, and so everything is like, that's what we want. we want the bliss and what we perceive others have, when in reality it's if we switched places, it would be a very different perspective, because it's usually not what we perceive things to be on the outside. When you go through an experience, in someone else's shoes, then you're able to see that, oh, this is very different than what I thought it was. And then you can understand maybe why they make certain decisions in their life, or you can see the people who come off as having it all, and having the best that life has to offer. You can see that that's just on the outside, and they don't always have everything as blissful as it appears. And so I think those are ideas that most of us already know, but we still sometimes find ourselves in that trap of comparison and trying to take our own circumstances or what's showing up in our reality and comparing to someone else's what we see on the outside, comparing our worst to someone else's best, at least what we perceive to be their best. And that just doesn't help us at all. And I think that I shared a story. I just did a short, maybe I'll link it to this, I don't know, but I just shared a story that I wrote, and this was also back in the 90s, before writing it for the same person that just had the broken arm, but this was, I think, done before that. But anyway, it wasn't related, but it was for the same person. My family was really young at the time. we had really young children, and not all of our children were with us yet, I think, when we wrote that story. So I wrote it, and the kids that were able, they illustrated the story, and my husband edited. And we did this for our niece and cousin, Jessica. And anyway, in that story, it's called Are We There Yet, Nana? And in that story, and I'll link it so you can look at that. And it's a short, it's not really long. So in that story, Jessica is always asking and wanting to get on to the next thing, right? And I'm just using this as an example of what I'm talking about, that we're all like this, where we are in such a hurry to get on to the next thing that we don't allow ourselves to be present, to be in the moment, to enjoy what's right in front of us. And I am, I'm just as much, talking to myself on this too, because I've spent much of my life doing that, where you're so focused on what happened in the past. And if you're not focused on that, you're focused on, well, what's happening in the future, especially if you're an adult and you have things you have to do, right? Like, well, and kids do too if they go to school and stuff, but like, especially parents who have to think about feeding their kids and all that, like, I often laughed about this, but my grandmother, when I was growing up, one of my grandmothers, she would be sitting at the table at breakfast and saying, she's sitting there eating, we're all eating, and then she's like thinking about what she's going to make for lunch. And then when she's eating her lunch, she's thinking about, what she's going to make for dinner. Like, it's just, and I always thought it was funny until I became a mom, and then I understood that, oh yeah, you do kind of have to think way ahead like that. And so it makes it really difficult to enjoy what you're doing in the moment, because you're constantly thinking ahead of what I need to do next. And that's a trap. Because, yes, you need to prepare some things, right? But like, you don't have to do it at the expense of enjoying a moment that you should be enjoying. There's a way to enjoy each moment and to still be ready for what comes next. And I think we do get too much in our heads, and too much, there's just too much planning. There's too much brain activity instead of allowing ourselves to kind of have a little bit more relaxed approach, and a more like heart-based approach, where you are led in each moment to do the next thing. Like, it's more like water flowing in a river, instead of like I don't know, we get in our own way so much of the time. We just get in our own way. And there's a way to just chill out, go with the flow, and everything still gets done. Everything still gets taken care of. you know, but you're not like expending all of your energy trying to do it. That, you know, you're retaining some energy for yourself so that you're still enjoying the journey along the way. So back to that story, Are We There Yet, Nana? The idea of always being focused on the next moment, or like the next thing, and not being in the present moment and enjoying the journey along the way. There's a lot that we miss out on. And yeah, so anyway, those are just thoughts that I have a lot of the time, and internal battles that I have this tug of war with this kind of thing. And I think we all do, because I think we all understand that the present moment is the moment. That is all we really have, is like right now. And I think we all realize that, but it's such a internal battle and tug of war that goes on within us. And the world is so noisy, and our brains are so noisy a lot of the time, that we don't have the time to rest and to just be, and to just sort of relax into each moment, if that makes sense. And to have our awareness on the moment, so that we experience every detail of that moment in all its aspects, in all its glory, in all of its fullness, you know, like, and with all of our senses, even the senses that we have that are not part of our five senses, but like there's other senses that we have as humans, that we have not have acknowledged that we have it, but we all do have more than five senses. And when you get present and you allow for that, then your other senses come online, and you start to notice things you never noticed before, and it becomes like magic. And you know, we can all do this. This is we just have to get out of the hamster wheel mentality, and the you know, we have to get ourselves into a rest position, you know, where we can get out of our heads and get out of the chaos, and put ourselves into a rest state, in a present moment state, where we can experience the fullness. Like I said, we can experience the fullness of the moment and not be pulled off by everything outside of us. So anyway, I don't know, that's all I have for now. Yeah. Okay. Hope you have a good day. Bye.